Hey y'all, this is Carter here with a typical vagabond, doing live video. I'm gonna see if y'all are gonna be coming on here in a second. Uh, just got in and am here back in my apartment and trying a different little setup here. See how things go. So yeah, let's see how this goes. I'm gonna pop off of here for just a quick, brief moment as I need to get my water.
Oh, did you post some? Oh, okay. I'm gonna pull it up and mute you.
All right. All right. So, all right. Let's see how this goes here. All right. I'm not seeing anybody in here just yet. All right, looks like I got somebody in here. So if you have any comments, just give me whatever questions you have, and I'll try to answer them for you. I know that there's been a lot going on in the United States this week. I've received numerous messages about how do you become a resident of another country, and there's a lot of depth and research that needs to be done in order to move outside of the United States and live. So it's something that you need to really do your due diligence in order to find out what place you want to live that's going to suit you and your needs, because things are different for everybody. I know a lot of people have been saying, how do I move to Portugal? What are some of the resources? And I've been able to provide the resources that they need in order to get more information. So if you do have any questions like that, I can provide these resources in order for you to basically have a checklist in order to get everything that you need for your visa for wherever you're wanting to go. I know a lot of people around the world that are able to help you out too, so I can point you at least in the right direction if it's not Portugal where I'm at. For like the D7 process, there's a bunch of different things that you have to do in order to go through to get an extended stay visa to stay here for longer than 3 months. Because going to the EU, you have just on a tourist visa, you can come here for 3 months and not have any issues, but you have to leave afterwards. But yeah, there's certain things that you need to get. Like if you're from the U.S., you know that you have to have a Social Security number. So there's a NIF number, which is for similar. It's basically for tax purposes. So like you have to get that. You have to set up a bank account in Portugal. You have to show that you have enough money to live on, and basically if you're able to work remotely, that your employer will let you go over to Portugal and that they will pay your taxes over here. So I said bank account, and if you're retired, you have to show that you have enough funding to take care of yourself for a year. and that's for the D7, but like if you're working, you'll need to apply for the D2 visa, and you have to do a criminal background check for the federal government, for the U.S. to basically show that you haven't had any issues with the law, that you're a law-abiding citizen, because they don't want people that are going to be trouble for themselves. So you have to do that, and it's something that has to be unopened when you send it over to them. Let me see, what else is there? You also have to sign another document for Portugal, so that Portugal can do a background check to make sure that you haven't committed any crimes in Portugal. So really, you shouldn't have any issue with that. And then you have the application itself, which is just 2 pages, so it's pretty simple, but it can be a little bit complex if you're not sure exactly what they're asking for. You also need health benefits for over here. So like basically you're just purchasing traveler's insurance that'll take care of you if you're to get hit by a bus, which is literally what happened to somebody. I think it was up in Porto where I was reading it. They were on one of the electric scooters and got hit, so they've had to go to the hospital and do all that stuff. But they also had one of the requirements on the health insurance is that you need to have COVID vaccination or COVID requirements. So like it has to have COVID requirements, so that if you get sick with COVID and die, that your body can be transported back to the U.S. I think it's like I have to look at it, but I think it was like $30,000 that was kind of tied to that. And some of the stuff is like some just intricate stuff that you really have to look at and dive in and go over multiple times in order to have your visa application set up. And for me, like I was in the middle of the United States, so there's not really a consulate that was anywhere nearby. So for me, I had to send in my application to the DC office, and I sent that in by mail. It's one of the only places that you can do that for me. But it's kind of, and this was central. It kind of, I think it's like Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, all the way down to Florida. It's basically anywhere that was outside of a 100-mile radius of DC that didn't have a nearby consulate. So I was quite fortunate. But then it's like, if you're anywhere west of the Mississippi, you basically have to go to the San Francisco office. And if you're in Boston, you have to go to the Boston office, or New York, you have to go to the New York embassy. So it's one of those things that you have to really dive into and look at. Like it's a website that's called VFS Global, and they do all of the information for Portugal. They do a great. It's not a service that you have to pay for really. I mean, there was some stuff that they kind of, when I sent it in, that's something that they kind of look over the application first to make sure everything's in order before they send it over to the embassy to look over. So that's kind of some of the stuff, like a brief synopsis of the things that you would have to do on the D7 visa. So like, those are some of the questions that have been brought up to me this week. So I figured that if there's other people that are on here and had questions about how do I get to Portugal, or how do I start these steps, and hopefully that's some of the stuff, answers some of those questions. if you don't have a job that's going to allow you to work over there, it becomes much more complicated, and you have to find like some type of remote work, build your own job, and create your own work. And that means like you have to set up your business in the U.S. and get that those numbers and that stuff. And that's a whole can of worms to do. But yeah, if there's any other questions that you all have, that just drop them over there. I haven't seen any questions just yet, and it looks like that there's a few people in here, so hopefully I am hitting those questions that you've had this week. But I'll just in the meantime I'll just talk about what's going on today, I guess. So we went to a restaurant this morning and had pancakes, and they were delicious, as is most of the food here. Something that haven't had, and I was like, I want to do something a little bit different, eat somewhere else. So had it's called salty pancakes, so it's kind of savory pancakes that had bacon and an egg on top, 2 pancakes, pretty simple, with orange juice. And the orange juice was all right. It wasn't anything fancy. And my wife ended up having a Kinder. They're basically Kinder pancakes, but they're like the Kinder eggs. The that on top of it, and had strawberries and such. And she had never had a Kinder egg, so this was a new experience. She's like, "This is it's pretty tasty. I can't really pick out exactly what it is," and I kind of explained to her what this was like, this dessert. She's like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." So had that, then we walked around a little bit and picked up some storage bins, and are continuing to get things organized and try to keep things in order. So just still finding little things here and there to make a small space as useful and organized as possible. And so after that, we ended up going over to a group that's with Internations, which is a very interesting group of people. Today's group ended up being a bunch of Americans and Canadians there, and one guy from Tunisia. And he's the one that organizes the group. So it was nice, and I had already met many of these people because I've been to a few of these Internation meetings before, and previously, when I've gone there had been people that from all over the world. I think the first one, or maybe first or second one I went to, we had somebody that was on every single continent, or from every single continent, which was pretty amazing to experience, just to kind of have like a global community conversing and just sharing their experience of what life is like. So it's a pretty cool experience, and noticing a little bit. I've been learning a little bit more about the Internations, and that they have other groups that are up in the bigger cities of Porto and Lisbon. So I might go up there to one of their meetings just to kind of experience it and see what other people are in these communities that are around, because it's nice to discuss things from or with people that are from different places than I am, just so I can have a little bit of a different perspective, and it helps me learn to listen and respect other people. So it's nice to be able to practice some principles that I believe in by I listen to people that I don't know who they are or anything. So that's absolutely great. So it looks like that I have received a couple of questions here. Some people wondering about the weather. Man, like it's been like kind of wild over here. Like seemed like a couple weeks ago it was in the high 90s and the sun is piercing your skin and just hot as can be, and putting on the AC and everything. And then this week it's been like high of the 70s and kind of brisk, and when the wind is here it's been cutting right through you. So it's been kind of all over the place recently. So today was a little bit chilly. I wore a jacket out. I still wore shorts, but I had my leather jacket on, and I am glad that I did so because I just got back here before I went live, so was able to stay warm while I was out. And oh yeah, so the thing about Portuguese, yeah, I am learning the Portuguese language up at the university. Things are going well up there. I only have 3 days in to my classes, so it is. I'm not perfecting the language, and it is pretty interesting. It is a very intensive course. It's basically 20 classes in a month that we'll be learning Portuguese together. It's only like 6 people in here, so I don't know how much I've discussed about this, but I am up at the Coimbra University doing their summer course for Portuguese for foreign learners. And yeah, like, so what's kind of neat is that there are, there it is in an international community too. So my class is a small size, so there's only like 9 people in my class, and there's 3 people from Spain. I think one of them is from the Canary Islands, and then there's one guy from Tunisia that speaks French. Obviously the Spaniards speak Spanish, and the rest of us are Americans that are speaking English, or trying to at least. And our instructor, she does speak Portuguese, and she speaks English during the class, so she's not a full immersion experience of like you don't even understand the concepts because you don't have the language of Portuguese to really fall onto. So yeah, and she does speak a little bit. She speaks a little bit of French, so she's able to help the Tunisian guy out a little bit. But it's one of the things that's a little difficult there. But and she is fluent in Spanish too. There's a lot of overlap in Spanish with Portuguese. The big difference is when speaking Spanish, it's kind of flat, like with their the way that they say their words. So there's not much of like inflection up and down, up and down. Whereas Portuguese, there's a whole lot of inflection in their words, and it's while it's similar, there's speaking it is much different, and it's kind of interesting. So that basically we've learned a verb each day. So I've learned 3 verbs: ser, a star, and 10, which is basically correlates with some of Spanish also. And that's with ser, a star, and tener, which would be the Spanish equivalents. And going through like verb, the questions of cuál es and como and cu instead of k. So those are the things that kind of been going on like some of the nouns that have been associated with nationalities and specific professions. So yeah, can't say that I've learned a whole lot just yet, but I'm getting better. And it's all about getting 1% better, no matter what you're doing in life. Um, like, and I think that I'm doing that each day, in each video here. So I'm trying to do, I might not have like my videos done perfectly, or even these live videos done perfectly, but at least if I'm doing a 1% better than I did last week, then I'm improving and going into the right direction. So anytime that I'm doing stuff with Portuguese, if I can become 1% better than I was last week, then I'm considering a win. That's kind of like my goals. And it's important to set out goals in life in order to reach where you want to be in life. So definitely have goals if you're still looking at moving abroad or something. So it's like, especially with like the D7 application, or like the visa application for Portugal, definitely set up goals that you want to reach before you get there, because you don't want to be rushing at the last minute in order to get there, because you're going to be making mistakes. And that's something that I've learned from my mistakes. So take that as a little nugget of knowledge. But yeah, definitely set out goals. But yeah, so like I start back into classes tomorrow. Had my homework done. I've gotten most of my stuff put together and organized for class, so should be good in that aspect. But yeah, overall life is pretty good. I kind of talked about my weeks. What else is there? Is there any other questions that you all have? I talked about my day to day. I talked a little bit about school. I didn't really leave this week. I really didn't leave Coimbra. I just kind of walked around the town. Oh yeah, so there was an antique sale thing yesterday, and it was supposed to be in Praça do Comercial, Comercio. It is. It got moved to like a block away from here, and so like I kind of walked through there to go over to the Mercado, but they had some just really cool old antiques that they were selling. It's not anything that I personally would want, especially in such a small apartment, but it definitely was interesting. There's some like chests that had inlays in it, but the reason that it got moved is that up the street, or in the Praça do Comercio, is they're going to have a book fair. It's I think Fluvia de Livro. So they're going to have a book fair, but there's like this one alley that comes out of there that they have like little hats up there for like decorations. They put up netting, and inside the net, or on the netting, is a bunch of like fake books going. I want to say like it's a good 200 meters or so back into the alley. So it's quite a distance, and it's neat. But I'll post it on my Facebook page, so you can see it. So if you're listening to this, I'll put a link over to my Facebook page so you can see that picture, just kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about. But yeah, anyway, it looks like there's some other people that have popped on there. Is there any other questions that you have? I appreciate you all being here tonight too, man. And I appreciate the questions that you dropped in here. It definitely helps me stay on task and think about things that I might not have thought about before coming to discuss things on this live video. But yeah, let me see. Because I'm not seeing anything on here for questions, so I'm not sure if there's any questions that are going on. Uh, okay, and I'm not seeing anything. Anyway, let me see. Yeah, one of the things that's going on. One of the things that's I've noticed also, at least it's something that's been different than the fall when I was here, is that there's been a lot of flies, and I hadn't heard this previously about people complaining about flies and mosquitoes. And like our apartment, we ended up putting up um, a netting in here to prevent the flies and bugs to enter into our apartment here, and that's definitely helped out. But that was like when it was really hot, so since it's cooled down over here, we haven't had much issue. But when we had like brunch this morning, the flies over there were insane. But while it's definitely cooler, like the sun was beating down, and it was kind of windier. So I don't know why, but there was a lot of flies over here. And I was discussing this with another expat over here, and he said that he thinks it might be because like people are eating there, and that they might not be mopping up like this granite that's over here, as opposed to like the other areas over around that area. They have more cobblestones that maybe them not mopping it up well enough is causing the fly infestation to be over there while we're eating. So I don't know if there's any truth to that, but it definitely is something annoying there. So coffee drinks, yes. If you know me, I absolutely love coffee. I don't imbibe in any alcohol at all. Just not my thing. It's not something that I partake in, but I do love some coffee. So what is my favorite coffee drink? I think it depends upon the moment that I am in. So if I'm just kind of at a coffee shop or a cafe, pasteleria, and I'm just wanting to kind of just get something and kind of get out. When I'm saying get out, I'm just like saying like maybe just hang out for like 5 minutes and then go on and do something else. Then I really like just a plain espresso, and it's only a small coffee cup, about yay big, a little bit bigger than my thumb, but it just it's not like super strong or super bitter, so like it's something quick to drink. And like for me, like if I'm just going in there and gonna go running up to the university, I'll just get an espresso shot and head up there. And then if I'm having more of a lingering experience, in the morning I'll typically drink a galao, which is 1/3 coffee and then 2/3 milk, and that is a pretty lovely experience. And then it kind of depends upon where I'm at. If I am over at a specific restaurant, then I might have like a cappuccino or a latte. Like tonight, I had like at the Internations, like it was absolutely gorgeous up there. Had a great view of the city of Coimbra, and really nice view of just everything up to the university. It was just stunning. But I ended up having a latte with a caramel and it was pretty darn good, I must say. And it was very beautiful. They had different layers of colors to it, so it was probably one of the prettiest drinks that I've seen here. And if I'm like over at Cafe Central, which is kind of the middle of like the tourist area. It's nearby the Arco Alameda. It has a really good cappuccino. So does Cafe Basson. But yeah, like and they'll just shake just a little bit of cinnamon on the cappuccino. So I kind of like that too. So those might be my favorite. Like those two for like coffee. It might be the cappuccino. Let me see. Best food that I've had so far. I don't know. Let me talk about a couple of the meals that I've had, and I'll say like it. In Figure de France, I've had 2 meals there that were very, very good. One of them was during my first visit here, and it simply was just going to like this little place that's in the middle of the boardwalk, and it's just a plate of the day. So it's basically just a white fish and some like butternut soup and a couple other items. I can't remember because this is a meal that I had like 9 months ago or something, but it was absolutely fabulous. And I guess like a few weeks ago, I went with my wife over to Figure de France and had a meal, and it was fantastic. It was also like a special of the day. It wasn't really a plate of the day, plato de dia. But I ended up having veal, and it was okay. But had beans and rice that was fantastic, and like one of the experiences that you'll have with many of the places in Portugal when you're eating out is that they'll drop off like bread and like some just side items, and it's not something that you order, but it's something that you'll end up paying for like with money. But then like the bread is only like €1, and like it's usually typically no more than like €3, maybe 4 if it's something fancy. But this had ceviche and like from like it was like a white fish that was in there, and Sage didn't care much for it because it was very salty. But then she had sardines, and her sardines were amazing. But like she had a tomato and rice dish. It's basically it's almost like a creamy tomato soup that was mixed in with rice, and that was pretty fantastic. That might be one of my most favorite things here that I've had. Let's talk about it today, but like I've had like grilled pineapple up here, and it's like anytime that I have grilled pineapple over here, I'm like, I just really love that. But recently, my most favorite meal might have been up in Aviero. Had like it's just salmon. And like like in the U.S., like you have like a just a fillet, like a little fillet. So like the way that they cut the fillet over here is like, instead of it being like, long ways, it's, the other way. So like you basically have pieces of the backbone and then the bones that would be the ribs coming down into the salmon. So it was just, for me, it was cooked perfectly. It was absolutely delicious. And on top of it, all they did was crack a little bit of rock salt on top of it. And then the rock salt is a little bit bigger. So like you eat the piece of salmon, you have like a little crunch with the salt. So absolutely delicious. And it was cooked in butter. Didn't have olive oil on it, so it had a nice buttery taste, and the outside of it was grilled to perfection. The potatoes had like nice butter potatoes that were saturated in butter, and I think I had a salad and some vegetables. It had I think cabbage. Yeah, it had some cabbage, but the cabbage had all kinds of butter in it too. And it probably didn't have too much butter, but it definitely was a very buttery dish. It was quite nice. See, I'm a sucker for the Francina. Some of you might find it disgusting, but I really like it. And I won't say like the thing is like with the Francina, it's like a hungry man's dinner. It's not the best cut of meats that are put in there. They put sausage or a hot dog in there, but yeah, I quite like it. It's a pretty hearty dish. So if it's something that I'm feeling more of a calorie-rich meal, that's something that I'll go for. Like if it's something that I've already had fruits at home and kind of got burnt out on cheese and bread, then it's something that I will enjoy. Like one of the places is called Lona that I enjoy. So like I'll take Sage up there, and she will get herself a glass of wine or a glass of beer and whatever else looks good on the menu to eat. One of the things I do want to try up there. Ooh, actually, I take that back about best meal, and that was probably the very first time. It was when I was here the first time. I was in Aviero down by the fish market and had gambas, which were shrimp, and those boys were they were huge. But it was like a garlic saffron sauce that was amazing. It was really, really good. But yeah, food here is absolutely great, and I could probably talk about Portuguese food for days. I will say about bad experiences with food. I have had a couple recent ones, and it's not that it was necessarily bad, but it's not the best. But I've gone to the store over here, and I was a little bit disappointed in the cheeses, and probably going to have to throw out this cheese after I'm done with this video, just because the amount of smell is quite rank, and it kind of hits you the same way when you're eating it. So, but you can't always hit on every single thing, so just one of those things where it did not work out with some of these cheeses that I've had recently. So it is what it is. But the other cheeses that I've had here have been absolutely fabulous, and just kind of sucks to not get something that you absolutely love. But yeah, is there any other questions you have? No, and I do refill my water bottles at home, so that's why I just drink out of a water bottle over here. It's just easier to contain.
Tap water's good.
Yeah, oh yeah, the tap water here is absolutely fantastic. So something that I can do is drink straight out of the tap. But yeah, if there's other questions, I can continue answering them. I know it's been about 40 minutes. I did get to do like some conversations this week with some friends back home, so it was kind of nice to be able to have one-on-one video time with people. So if there's anything that like you might want to talk to one-on-one, just hit me up in the comment section, and I'll try to accommodate you in any type of way possible. I'd like to try to bring value to your life, so if I can help bring some value to what you're trying to do, just let me know. But it seems like things are starting to die down in here. I've been on here for just over 40 minutes, so let me see. Might just go ahead and try to wrap things up a little bit. So we talked about the D7 visa. I'm just reading your comment there, Elmer. Thank you for subscribing. It's so disappointing. No, I probably need to write things down to kind of flesh that out a little bit more. But one of the things that was a disappointment was I had bought a new computer and brought it over here, and in the process of doing that, I was stopped at customs and basically had to pay taxes on the computer, like an import tax is what they hit me with. So, and that was my fault because I didn't get the right documentation from the consulate. So it's something that I needed to do in that process. But I didn't do it and made a mistake, and it cost me quite a bit of money. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm here on this channel, trying to help people out. It's not to make costly mistakes like I have. And, I'm grateful because I've listened to other people from like their mistakes that they've made, and I haven't made as many costly mistakes as I possibly could. And things just happen the way that they need to in order for us to learn sometimes. So me learning from my mistake will hopefully help you all learn not have to make that mistake. So it's trying to like time everything in order to make things work is difficult, especially if you're a homeowner that's ended up selling your house. That's something that I did that was difficult, was selling my house and trying to time it to where like I can get my visa back before I head out here and have the house sold and everything out of the house, and selling all the stuff and trying to get everything there. It's a difficult process to juggle, and I feel like I'm just like juggling all these things, and like everything's just hitting the ground, but I'm juggling these other things and hitting the ground, picking it up, but it worked out. But in the process, we didn't get our visa in time, so that was something that was disappointing. Is we had to reschedule our flight, which was another expense. But things ended up working out because I had transportation from the airport. Like, and we were going to come in through Lisbon, come up to Coimbra. So the process of doing that, we ended up having to go into Porto for our tickets, and then I had found somebody else to pick us up, and it ended up being cheaper. So, I mean, it all kind of evened out, even though I had to spend a little bit more money. So those are the type of things that I've been disappointed in, and it's mostly that I'm disappointed in myself more than I'm disappointed in things with Porto, or Portugal or Coimbra, or 'cause there's, I can't really say that there's much that I've been disappointed with here. I mean, if anything, like the only thing that I could say that I would be disappointed in is that I didn't do this sooner. Just to be honest, I absolutely love it here. The thing is like, there's different types of personalities that people have, and I'm much more laid back than many people. But if one of the things that I could see people being disappointed about here is like, service isn't like fast. It isn't instant. It's not. It's much more of a lingering type of experience, and some of the things here also aren't efficient, like for getting things completed. And this goes in with like your D7 visa. It's like nothing is like as fast as it should be, or could be. So like, if you're just like really hungry and want something to eat, then you might want to prepare to have a little bit more time. Otherwise, you might end up being disappointed. But the thing is like taking that time to like unwind and enjoy yourself in order to appreciate the meal that you're about to have that's going to nourish you. It very much ends up outweighing the disappointment that you might have initially. So it's one of those things where it's about perspective. So it's how am I going to be disappointed, or am I going to appreciate what I have? The things here, like especially with food, is like the simplest of dishes are fantastic and delicious. Like Sage's tomato rice. I mean, it's like three simple ingredients. And maybe there was some basil or something in there, but it was amazing. Because I went over to the Mercado and I was like, I'm gonna get a peach because I haven't eaten a peach here, and I just bit into this peach and it was amazing. And I haven't had like peaches that had a bitterness to it. It was definitely sweet, like a typical peach, and it definitely beats the peach lady in Louisville's peaches every day of the week. And like my hand and my arm, was like full of juice. It was pretty amazing experience. So absolutely enjoyed the peaches. And I've had I just have like ripped open into an orange, and it was amazing. And I did have an orange the other day that was subpar. It was is absolutely sweet, but it just wasn't juicy enough. So, oh, poor me. So if I guess that's the most disappointed thing that I've had is being disappointed in that orange not tasting as good. uh, yeah, that no, that haven't really had much of a disappointing experience. But yeah, and I think it's mostly based upon my perspective. Um, they do have strikes on the trains, but they usually give a little bit of a heads up, and those typically are on a Friday is usually what happens. But if you're on the CP.PT, they usually give you a heads up, or if you have the app, it gives you a heads up. So it's good to buy tickets in advance because they'll tell you that be careful to buy this ticket because the trains up to Aveiro, for example, are not going to be going because there's a strike. And I don't understand all the strikes and for what reason that they're striking, but that's something that does go on. And I am noticing that like this red definitely is not a color that I should be wearing with this. So I'll try to remember that next time. I kind of blend in. I just look like a head on top of some red. So it's kind of weird looking. But anyway. All right. Yeah, so like... I guess I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I think that you all have answered or you've asked all the questions that you have. I'm getting a little bit tired. It's almost 11 o'clock here. I've been up since 7 o'clock this morning. So I think I'm going to wrap it up. Absolutely love you all. Thank you all for being on here. I do see that there's more people on here than previously since had a little bit more interaction. I have no problem going longer than the 30 minutes that I typically try to go for. I try to be succinct and discuss things, but there's been quite a bit of interaction, so I figure go as long as people are continuing to talk. So I appreciate the conversation. I love you all, and until then, I'll see you on the next one. Take care.